After decades of warnings, the day everyone dreaded has finally come. Jerusalem has fallen. The city is just a pile of ash. The temple is completely gone. But, in those very ruins, a really fragile and unexpected kind of hope starts to grow. So let's dive into this chapter of history and see how a new beginning was almost built right on top of the end of everything.
Okay, so the story kicks off with this pretty stunning admission. And it's not coming from a priest or a prophet. It's coming from the conqueror himself. The captain of the Babylonian Guard is just looking at all this devastation, and he gets it. He sees the truth. This wasn't just some military victory. It was a divine judgment. I mean, think about that for a second. The enemy understands why Jerusalem fell better than the nation that actually fell. The year is 586 BC. We're talking about the immediate aftermath here. King Nebuchadnezzar's army has finished the job, and the kingdom of Judah, well, it basically just doesn't exist anymore. All the important people, the elite, they've been carted off to Babylon, and the land is left smoldering. And right there, in the middle of all the chaos, mixed in with the lines of prisoners being marched away, is the prophet Jeremiah. For 40 years, nobody listened to him. And now, he's suffering right alongside the very people who completely rejected his message. It just shows you he wasn't above the judgment. He was right in the thick of it with everyone else. But then, something happens that absolutely no one could have seen coming. Out of all the chaos, the story suddenly zooms in on this one single encounter that is about to change the prophet's path forever. So the captain of the guard, the guy in charge of this whole operation, he finds Jeremiah in this massive crowd of captives. And you're thinking, okay, this is it. This is the end for the prophet. But nope, Nebuzaradan has something else in mind.
And here it is. This is the moment of pure validation. This pagan commander looks Jeremiah right in the eye and basically says, "Your God did this. He warned you it was coming, and boy, did he follow through." It's an absolutely unbelievable moment where Jeremiah's entire 40-year ministry is confirmed by the very man who just conquered his nation.
In what has to be an incredible act of mercy, Jeremiah is given a choice. He can go live a comfortable, honored life in the heart of the Babylonian Empire. Or he can stay right here, in the ruins, with the few people who are left. His chains are cut, and for the first time in a long time, his future is his to decide.
So who are these people he could stay with? They're known as the remnant. And really, they're the poorest of the poor. Farmers, laborers. They're the ones Babylon didn't even think were important enough to deport. They're like the seeds from which Judah just might, be able to regrow. And Jeremiah, he chooses to stay with them. Jeremiah's decision to stay, that signals a huge shift. It's not about warning of destruction anymore. Now, it's about trying to nurture this tiny little seed of hope. And believe it or not, Babylon actually provides a way for that to happen.
So the Babylonians, they install a new leader. And he's not a Babylonian. He's a Judean named Gedaliah. It's a classic move, indirect rule. And he becomes the guy, the central figure, responsible for trying to piece their shattered society back together.
Gedaliah's plan is super simple and honestly pretty practical. First, he says, stay put, don't scatter, let's stick together. Second, let's face facts, serve Babylon. Submission is survival right now. And third, get back to work, gather the harvest, rebuild your lives. And what's crazy is, it starts to work. Word gets out to the Jews who had fled to nearby countries like Moab and Ammon. They hear there's a new governor, that there's a chance for peace, and they actually start coming home. This little quote right here just captures that feeling perfectly. Suddenly, it's not just about surviving anymore. It's about abundance, a very much harvest. I mean, for the first time in a long, long time, there's a real sense of normalcy, of blessing, maybe even a future. This is that false dawn. But just as this fragile peace starts to feel real, the political turmoil that has always been under the surface of this region just rears its ugly head. And the biggest threat? It isn't coming from Babylon, it's coming from within. So one of the military leaders who had pledged his loyalty, a guy named Johanan, comes to Governor Gedaliah in secret. He tells him he's heard whispers, a conspiracy, an assassination plot that could shatter this entire newfound stability. And the warning is crystal clear. The king of Ammon wants to stir up trouble with Babylon, and he sent an assassin named Ishmael to do it. But Gedaliah's response? He just shuts it down completely. He doesn't even investigate. He just says that's a lie, putting all of his trust in the very man who was sent to kill him. Johanan is so sure about the danger that he even offers to take care of it himself to kill Ishmael in secret to save the governor and, everyone else. But Gedaliah forbids it. He just doubles down on this fatal, misplaced trust.
And that really leaves us with a heavy question, doesn't it? Gedaliah's desire to believe the best in people, to build this new community on a foundation of trust, it becomes his downfall. His story forces us to ask, when does that kind of noble faith become dangerous naivety? The tragedy that comes next is going to answer that question in the most brutal way you can imagine.